Mm-mm. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, see if can you see if can you hear me? Okay, that's not ideal. Oh, that's so annoying. Is can you hear it? You can't hear me? Why is it not working? You can't hear me. No, that's my live that didn't work. Yeah. Oh, we can hear you. Oh, great. I'm alive. We're good. Oh my gosh. That was so annoying. Sorry, everyone, but thank you for coming over to my phone. Great. Okay, we're here. If you all could smash the like button, I would really, really appreciate it because I think that'll help people find it now that my link is dead and it's not gonna work, all the people that I sent that link to. So, yeah, so if you could hit that like button for me, I would very much appreciate it, to hopefully drum up all the people that were on the other one over to this one. Oh boy. All right, I'm gonna try and stream it on my computer so that I can more easily see the comments. Because usually when y'all start commenting, then yeah, I can't keep track of it on my phone. Thank Chris. And to the person who said, is that the person that was doing the the aerial view from my last one? Yes, that's Chris. That's my brother-in-law. He's a tech person and helps me out with things. So um yeah, much appreciated to Chris. All right, I'm gonna pull this up um, over on my computer so that I can better see your comments before we get started. Thank y'all for coming over to this one. So annoying when the tech doesn't work and you're a dog trainer and not a tech person. Oh boy. All right, let's see. Good thing for your brother-in-law. Yes. Yeah, Chris is the best. All right, so that's good. Now I can see all your comments. I'm up and down streaming, which is weird, but here we go. Okay, yay for sound. Everything's good. Let's maybe get started. So, I wanted to start with asking where y'all from because I have a lot of new viewers. Big thank you to my longtime viewers as well as my Patreon people who make all of these things possible. Like I said in the live stream that wasn't working, I didn't have a chance to get a video out because my sister had a baby this week. So, very exciting over here. Um, and all right, so we're checking in from Nebraska, Minnesota, Golden, Colorado. I actually had someone join Patreon this week that was from Kenya, and they're working to make service dogs more accessible in their country. So, who is the furthest away? I'm currently in California for the next few days. Ooh, Scotland, that's pretty good. Um, let's see what else. So, yeah, so I'm currently in California, kind of prepping to get ready to drive back across the country. I've been spending a lot of time with family. Oh, Belgium. Yay. Yes, thank you. My new niece. Yeah. Um, so I've kind of been prepping for that. And yeah, this has been quite the trip. So, um, I wanted to talk a little bit today about what Denver and I have been up to for the last month because of kind of with YouTube left off at the 4 month mark, what we'd been doing for at 4 months. And today I want to talk a little bit about cycles and training cycles. And then I'm going to be taking questions after that. So keep putting where you're from in the comments. Let me know if you have a service dog yourself, if you have a service dog in training, or if you're exploring the idea of a service dog, or if you've got an awesome pet dog and you're here to learn new things with your pet dog. And I'll be checking the comments. Okay, so when we left off, I was at the 4 month mark, and immediately after 4 months, we got in the car and I headed all the way across the country to California to be here with my sister for. The first like a month or so before she had the baby, and then for a week or so after. And that was not something that I would have ideally picked. So if I could plan things, right? I wouldn't choose to get a brand new dog and then put them in the car at 4 months old and then drive them across the country because there's so much unknowns there. And all of the time that we had spent creating routines at home kind of goes out the window as soon as you're living in a van while you're driving out there. But the whole experience has been absolutely amazing for Denver as well as Whip. So if you went to my deep dive over on Patreon about integrating a complicated household with a new puppy, um, this trip has been so instrumental in building Whip and Denver's relationship because Whip is pretty dog selective. As she gets older, she's just kind of over the puppy thing, and Denver is a lot of dog, right? So being able to be outside in this beautiful weather versus being in Connecticut where it's very, um, cold, gloomy. You're not going to hang out outside for much longer than it takes to do a hike. Having them be able to hang out together has been so wonderful for their relationship. We've gotten to do a lot of hiking together. They've been swimming together. And for the first time, this is like a very big deal. Um, the neighbor's dogs are out. For the first time, they actually full on played together this week. Okay, I don't know if y'all can hear that, but the neighbor's dogs are chorusing in the background for us. Someone asked how many dogs I have. I have three. So I have a 15-year-old cattle dog cross, Cool Whip, who is an 8.5-year-old Australian Coolie, and then Denver, who just turned 5 months. Hopefully the barking will end soon. Um, oh, you can't hear it. Super. Um, so we've been doing a lot of adventuring. Now, for the first 2 months of the training process, I hit it hard, right? I had things that I wanted to get done, and I worked hard every day. It was a full-time job raising him. Denver is a lot of dog. He didn't have a lot of settle, right? But I did that knowing that I was going to be pumping the brakes pretty significantly on this trip. And that's kind of what I want to talk about a little bit today is the cycle of training. So the idea that we can go hard for a little while and then back off on our training and let our dogs grow up a little bit. Um, I think that that's really beneficial. It's also beneficial for to people who are neurodivergent like I am, who like are really hot on running with an idea for a little while and then maybe need to pull the brakes and then get re-excited for that idea a little bit later on. But there are very few problems that are not systemic that can't be fixed by giving your dog some time to develop and grow up and some time off. And one of the things that people put a lot of pressure on with service dogs is, oh, I gotta like get all this stuff done and I gotta do all of these things or else they'll never make it as a service dog. And really, our goal when we have young puppies like this is yes, we want to teach skills, but ultimately, what we want to do is teach them to enjoy learning and teach them to be confident. And you don't have to be pushing forward on tons and tons of skills. Um, from a very young age. This month of training with Denver has been significant amounts of hiking, swimming. We did do some duck retrieval training. That's kind of it. We hung out with some other dog friends that came down to see us, but there hasn't been a ton of progress training wise. I taught the close behavior. You saw that video that just came out. And I worked down on my stays a bit, but it was all mostly in the context of outings that I was doing. I train in the morning with him still just to give him something to do right when he gets up. But most of my morning training is actually shed hunting training. So I hide his sheds. We're up to being able to retrieve 3 sheds in a row that are hidden. But that's kind of where we've been like kind of focusing our energy instead of pushing forward with more and more and more and more. When I get home, I'll be back on the bandwagon teaching some new skills. But right now, he's just working on being a dog, and that has been working out really well. He's matured so much in the last month. Um, for the first 2 months, it really was hard raising him, and I wanna, like, shout out to everyone raising a puppy because raising a puppy is really, really hard. It's really exhausting. I was, pretty burnt out. Will we be able to see him? Sure, you can see him right now. I was pretty burnt out by the end of the training, like, that I did for the first 2 months, and then getting on the road and backing off has been really helpful for our mental health, his development, and just letting him grow up a little. He is super he's really in the swing of teething right now. He's got some of his adult teeth and he's got um some baby teeth left right now, so he wakes up like a little monster. um, but we're doing lots of bones and frozen carrots and all the things that will make his mouth feel better. He enjoys chewing on some ice cubes. Um, all right, Beth asked, when will you return home? Yeah, I'll probably start heading home next week or so, but I'm kind of taking it slowly on the way home, with some stops along the way, to a national park that I want to go to, that kind of thing. Um, yeah. But inserting it into your routine doesn't make it any less draining. Yeah, no, and that's true. I would say that I've done a lot more um like life skills training more than anything else. The other thing about being in California is that the density of dogs is significantly higher, which is great for socialization and the opportunity to practice passing dogs and people, um, as well as the good weather. So let's see. Uh, let's see. Where's Whip? She is in the car eating a bone because I didn't want to manage the two of them eating bones together, because it could, potentially there may be a little bit of guardy behavior, and I didn't need to do that while I was on a live. So, so we're each eating our bones in a separate area. They can eat their bones together outside. That's another great development that has come. But when you're live, you can only manage so many things, like your your mic not working when you first start. Um, let's see. Yeah, what great mental enrichment. Yeah, shout out Trevor. You guys should all check out Doggy Dojo. I met Trevor, gosh, probably when Whip was just a baby, maybe a year old or so, down in Texas, and they got to play with one of his pups down in his facility. So definitely check it out. Um, Let's see. Have had our puppy for a week and a half. Yeah, it's so hard. Like, I am a trainer with lots of like experience and skills, and Denver gave me a run for money, but I feel like he's a totally different dog now. He's like, all of the work we did on settling has helped so, 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 so much. Um, Actually, shout out for that. So Casey, who you've seen on this channel, she's a colleague of mine. Um, is actually going to be bringing a new course to the Doggy U course lineup, and it's going to be on settle training. So it's going to be settle training, crate training, and tether training. So it's going to kind of be a three-prong approach to settling for service dogs, taught a little bit differently than some of your traditional sport dogs might choose to teach this kind of stuff. So definitely, if you're not signed up for my newsletter, whenever I release a new course, I actually do a big discount prior to the release. So if you want to be in on getting the discount for that settling course, definitely sign up for the newsletter and you'll be the first to know about it and get that discount. Um, let's see. I'm just trying to go through some of the, the things. Someone asked where Cool Up is. Yeah, she's hanging out in the van eating her bone. They were both hanging out here eating the non new bones that you see scattered on the deck. But yeah, too much for me to manage with a little puppy. Um, let's see. Oh, Silver Moon's dog is joining in on the bone break. Okay. Um, all right. Someone asked if I like cats. I grew up with cats. I think cats are fine. I'll probably never own a cat of my own, just because I like to travel a lot and it's easier to travel with dogs. Jamie said he's so big now. I know, he's giant. So if you've been following along for a while, I worked really hard to find a set of parents that were really small. And it turns out I don't think Denver's gonna be that small, but his parents were 44 and 53 pounds, I believe. And yeah, he's probably I haven't been able to weigh him because I've been on the woo, oh man, because I've been on the road, but he's probably at least 40 pounds right now. So he's pretty big. Um, no, I'm not available for any consults or anything like that. I'm not taking clients. Sorry. Let's see. Let's see. Potty training. Yes, I am working on a potty training course. I just have really tried to focus this month on being here with my family while I have the ability to do so. But once I go back to Connecticut, I'll have a little bit more time to kind of hit the ground running with those courses that we're working on. Um, so this question from Caitlin: when would you consider neutering? My male is 1.5, and everybody keeps asking me when. I'm not sure it's necessary and may consider around 6 or 7. Yeah, so okay, so I will preface this with I am not a veterinarian, and so you should talk to your veterinarian. And also, I can tell you what I will be doing with my own dogs and what I have done in the past. So, Denver will not be neutered unless like there's some really extenuating circumstances. I prefer not to spay or neuter dogs until they're at least 2 years old and have had the benefit of their hormones to completely grow. Um, one of the thing one of the things that you know influenced my behavior around spay neutering is when I was working in guide dog, there was actually a litter where they tested neutering the males at 6 months versus neutering them at 16, 18 months or so, and the difference in body structure was so significant that unless there is like a very very good reason, I personally will not neuter or spay a dog prior to at least 18 months or so. Also, I believe in Denver's contract, I can't actually neuter him until 3 years, which doesn't matter because I wasn't planning on doing that anyway. But just something to know. Yes, he's a Labrador. He is a field bred Labrador Retriever. Uh, full lab. So field bred meaning that his lines are very much made for hunting. He is a hunting dog. He's actually been started on ducks, and he's doing really well with that. If you're on my Instagram, you might have seen he carried this duck this week that was, I swear, the size of his body and half of his weight. Um, but yeah, so he is a field line. I will be doing a bunch of sports with him, including shed hunt, which is one of my favorite things to do because it takes no equipment besides a few sheds and an area of land to hunt to have them practice on. Um, so let's see. Okay, Anna says, training questions. One of the tasks I need my dog to do is wake me up, and I'm really torn between having him sleep in an open crate versus letting him sleep in my bed with me. So I would crate your dog until they are capable of being loose without any issues. For me, that's typically a year old, but that doesn't necessarily mean, I think Whip I did 9 months or so. But I crate them when they're young and make sure they have good sleeping habits, make sure they're getting lots of sleep, and then I also am not asking my dog to task until they're emotionally mature. So by the time they're socially and emotionally mature, they probably don't need to be in a crate anymore. And then I can transition them to the bed if I want to. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Trevor. Yeah, my Patreon has a ton of great info, and it is only $4 to join. So if that interests you, patreon.com/doggyu, ton of stuff. And if you really want to follow Denver's training progress, I'm still processing all of the videos from the first 2 months of his life, but I put up right now at least 2 videos of his training every week. So, um, what are the main traits you look for in a potential service dog? Oh, so many things. That's such a loaded question. Neutrality. I'm looking for parents of the dog and grandparents of the dog that are solid around people, kids, a little bit bold. I like a dog that's a little bit bold and optimistic. I want food motivation. It's much significantly harder to train a service dog if they're not food motivated. So, food motivation is definitely one of the things I'm looking for. I'm looking for a dog that fits my lifestyle and also fits the tasks that I'm looking to do. I'm amazed by how many people get a dog without thinking about what they want them ultimately to do. So we want to think about that. But solid health too, health testing, making sure the parents are health tested, all of that kind of thing. Um, all right, let's see. Do do do. Um, Story isn't having any of his bone and is insisting watching the dog on the computer. That's really funny. Uh, so excited for the potty training course. Super. Oh, love your content with Fig and Bixby. Yeah, so Fig and Bixby are friends of mine. Well, I mean, I guess the dogs are friends, but also their humans are friends of mine as well. And you're actually going to see them both in a new video I have coming up on public access testing. So stay tuned for that one. I'm hoping to get that edited for next week, but we'll see what happens out here. But yeah, 2 really, really cool service dogs. Um, So yeah, they're fun, and it was really fun kind of getting to train with them this week. Winston the dog says, "How do you train your dog to ignore people?" Yeah, I use the engage disengage game a lot for that, and I got a little bit of footage of working Denver in a really really busy outdoor mall setting, so I'm hoping to put that up on Patreon too. Um, because yeah, it's a lot of when they're young. I will feed through the difficult situations until I can get their attention without the need for like a magnet hand situation. But yeah, check out my engage disengage video. Um, let's see. Have you ever trained a dog for bike joring? Yes, actually, if you check my YouTube, I have a video on bike joring. Cool Whip is like huge into bike joring. It's a lot of fun. So check out. I have a good video on that. She's a big fan. um, so let's see. Best breed for mobility work. You aren't gonna like none of you in the comments are ever gonna get me to say anything besides lab. I'm sorry. Like lab golden. No, Charlie, and this is not directed directly at you, but in general, if I'm looking for a dog, any type of service dog, a proven lab is going to do well. I'd also consider when we're looking at mobility work, I want to think about the stress on the dog's body. So, can I use durable medical equipment instead of a dog for the things that are weight bearing so that I can save my dog's body and long term health and use them for maybe lighter mobility skills, like opening doors, picking things up for me, that kind of thing. Um, Trevor, love how you balance task training and enrichment. Yeah, yeah, and really, so on the note of task training, Denver doesn't have any tasks. Like I want to be really clear. Like he can retrieve things. I've been working on him like finding my keys. Like today I was hiking. Oh, if you're in the Santa Cruz area, I hiked at this place today called the Land of the Medicine Buddha. Yeah, I think that's right. And I'm hoping to do a little short on it, but it was so fun. But one of the things that I'll do is I'll drop an item and when we come back through, see if he'll find it without being prompted. So we worked on that today a little bit. But he doesn't have any tasks. He doesn't do deep pressure therapy. He doesn't find my medication and retrieve it. He is a puppy right now, and he does puppy things. Can start teaching foundations for things like he has a retrieve that will be useful in the future, but I am not asking my 5-month-old puppy to task for me or to do anything related to my disability. And in fact, I protect him from my disability in a lot of ways. So I don't go to places with him that are a real struggle for me because that can easily bounce onto him and like his feelings about how I'm feeling about a situation. So I just want to put that out there. Puppy time is for puppy time. Teach your foundations, but he doesn't need to be responding to my panic attacks. That's unfair to him at this stage. And it's also probably detrimental to long term use as a service dog. Um, How do you teach property boundaries? I don't. I get a fence or I go out on a long line. I'm not trying to be curt with that response. It's just that I don't have experience teaching property boundaries that aren't related to um, being safe with the dog. So I want a physical fence or a leash on my dog. How do you handle when the puppy sees something in a novel environment and barks? So I redirect to me and then I decide how I'm going to move going forward with that thing. So the first thing I need to do is stop the behavior. So what that means for me would probably be a U-turn back to me, food in the face, U-turn back to me. And then that's not training, right? That's just stopping the rehearsal of the behavior. And then I'm going to go back and say, okay, why is my puppy barking? How can I expose them to something at a lower level that they're not going to bark at and move from there? Um, how do you suggest choosing between a bench and a field lab for service work? This is a very good question. So, generally, I would recommend a bench lab for most people. Denver is so much dog, and I'm not gatekeeping here. I am telling you that he is a full-time job. He is a very high end working dog that needs to be worked, or he is a pain in the butt. Um, so for most people, for most service work, a bench bred lab is going to be a good option energy wise because most bench bred labs can be worked and then can also be weekend warriors, can do the sports with you, but they don't have to. Denver has to do the thing or else he is annoying. And I knew that going in, right? Like I knew that I was going to be competing in a lot of sports. My lifestyle is such that I hike every day. So when you're looking at considering a field lab, you really have to look at the lines. I met over 20 of the dogs that were produced out of Denver's lines before I decided on him as an option because I needed to make sure that he was going to be successful in the style of life, the lifestyle that I have. But generally, field labs can be high strung. They can be I call vibratey. And then some of them are not. Like now that Denver, we've worked really hard on his settle. He will settle on his own, but he was not settling. And some of that's puppy, right? But some of that is him. He's a busy, busy dog. So most people will do really well with a bench lab, and will have a much easier puppyhood with a bench lab. Um, do 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 do. Um, let's see. Do you think a lab would get big enough for mobility work? Depends. Depends on the size of the person. Depends on the lines. I would look at larger lab lines for that. S- Uh, Fern says my videos are helpful. Thank you. Um, do you still use a magnet handful of treats to pass people and dogs? Do you keep moving past or sit and wait? Great question, Megan. So, in that really busy environment with at the mall, I absolutely used a magnet hand for the busiest of environments. However, I've taught Denver a very strong hand touch, so I will often use a hand touch to pass. If you want to check out, I did my most recent deep dive, I had viewers, or Patreon members submit video, and I actually did a review, and you can see, and one of the things, it was for dog related interest, but you can see on there like the different ways that I use different modes of getting by something while my dog still needs support. So I will support my dog at the level that I need to support them. That also may mean changing the environment, that maybe they're not ready for the environment. But in that case, we were walking through a busy area and then to a less busy area. And so I was pretty comfortable doing magnet hand. I also would do, I don't know if I can, let me see if I can show this. Like one of the things to get away one of the things to get like away from straight like feeding your dog is to do like food on dog's nose up to belly, on dog's nose up to belly, right? So you're still very much supporting them through it, but you're getting a little bit of moments where you're not having to feed the entire time. um so and then sometimes I will sit. So like on the trail today, there was an older dog that was passing us, and so I pulled Denver off to the side, had him sit. Now he is at the point with most situations like that for hiking where he can sit, and then I can mark and reward him sitting while the dog pass and reinforce after the behavior for those types of situation. Um, do let's see. Let's see. Are Belgian shepherds good for service dogs? There are individual Belgian shepherds that would be good for service work, but it's unlikely that you're going to be able to find them as a puppy. So if you are interested in non-traditional breeds, I would look at 1 to 2 year old dogs that you have an established personality that you can test for. But generally, no, I've never recommended a Belgian shepherd for anyone for service work. Um, where am I from? From all over. No, I live in Connecticut, but I travel quite a bit for work and fun. Deborah says I have field hunter lab and agree. Yeah, they're a lot, but they're so fun. And like, so here's another thing that you need to know about trainers is like trainers get dogs that look super fancy when you train them, right? So like when you look at Denver doing his close behavior, he looks fancy, right? Like he looks cool doing it. And also that fanciness, that fun with the training comes with a lot of other stuff that most people don't want to live with generally. Um, that's why you're seeing all the trainers with the Belgian Malinois and the German Shepherds and the field bred Labradors. It's because they look fancy and trainers want to look good and all of that. So just know that like that fancy stuff often comes with other things that most people don't want to live with. Let's see. Um, let's see. I have a Bernedoodle. I I don't know if your individual dog is going to be good at service dogs. I don't prefer mixes generally just because it's a little bit harder to predict outcomes. But that doesn't mean there aren't some great Bernedoodles that are service dogs. Just that when I talk about dog breeds, I am talking about the general population. Um, who's going to do best? Like my goal is always for you to have the most success possible. And so I can't in good conscience recommend breeds that don't have high success rates. That's like That's basically it. Um, my pup is just over 2 months. I'm loving the puppy dog. Yay! I love his energy now that he's going on 3 or 4. He is awesome and can turn energy on and back off for settling. Yeah, so, like, the thing about the field labs, right, is, like, Denver's parents have really good settles, right? So that's great. Um, so I expect with some, uh, you know, work on it on my end that he will eventually have a really nice off switch, but it's just taking some work. And that's fine. Like no dog is perfect. No dog is going to come out of the box like just amazing. Like all of the time there's some stuff you have to work on. I talked about it in the 4-month-old video, and like he's a little whiny. He can be like anticipatory whiny, not when he's working, thank goodness. But like in the crate when he knows we're gonna go somewhere, that kind of thing. So it's something that I can work on if it annoys me enough. And then there's just some stuff that like if it isn't worth fixing, then I don't fix. I don't spend time on things that don't bother me. Let's see. Are Australian Shepherds better than Belgian? Let's see. Oh, that one went away. I don't generally recommend specific breeders just because what I think is good, it may not fit your lifestyle. So I'm not um I'm not in a habit of recommending breeders. Sorry. Uh it's just that I don't like it's I think it's always best to hook up with a trainer, a service dog trainer who has connections with different breeders who can assess your situation and what your needs are and make a recommendation based on that, not just a blanket like this dog is good because like, I have a breeder that we use for service dog work, but some people would, like, not like that breeder at all. So it really depends. Um, what is the difference between a bench lab and a field lab? Um, so a bench lab is generally bred for um, conformation. Sorry, I'm not in that world. Someone might be able to explain this better than I can. But generally bred for conformation to meet AKC standards for what a Labrador is. Generally, they're going to have a blockier body, a blockier head, a more substantial body, and a lot of them can do everything that a field lab is going to do. A field lab tends to be specifically bred for hunting, competition, that kind of thing, which means you get a leaner, thinner, faster. Like if you look at Denver when he grows up, he'll probably look similar to like a Vizsla in that way, that he's going to be a different build than your bench bred labs. That's not everything, but that's some of the things. With that comes a difference generally in energy. I think about some of the bench labs that I have trained in the past where they're like they'll go on like I don't know, like when they're a puppy, like a 20-minute walk and just like fall asleep. A 20-minute walk is a warm up for Denver. So like that might be helpful in determining. Um, let's see. Uh would you ever recommend a Cavalier for service dog work? Yeah, actually, if you can find one that doesn't have a lot of health issues, because that's common in the breed, I really like Cavaliers for certain service dog work stuff, especially if you're looking for a small breed. But again, not as successful as Labs, but also like an option for a smaller breed if you're looking for that. Um, Laura says she absolutely loves Denver. Yeah, he's such a good boy. I'll go back over to Denver. He's still so my bones, I actually, you know that I like am a huge Almost Pride fan. I actually had them shipped out. I had 10 pounds of marrow bones shipped out to here in California because I ran out along with some of their meat. Um, will a rabies exemption letter from my vet be accepted in lieu of a rabies certificate? I don't know, Molly. I would call your airline and ask them that question because I'm not an expert on that. Um, let's see. Can we at least know where you got Denver from? Yeah, he's from Kick-Ass Labradors. You won't find much about them online though. Like they're like I think the website for Kick-Ass is um like just a picture of a dog on it. Like one picture. Her wait lists are years long, so yeah, that she doesn't advertise. I got really lucky to get one of these dogs. This is making me feel better. My border collie pup just hit a year and her settling has gotten a lot better, but it's definitely not the best it could be. Oh yeah. So Cool Whip, who has an excellent settle, actually, it took her 9 months of me working on it before she started having a really good settle. So um yeah, so no, there's definitely hope. Just keep working on it. Keep making laying down valuable. And then also, if you're struggling, definitely check out this course when it comes out because we are working on specifically a service dog settle and crate behaviors. So, do you know any words in Polish? I do not. I really appreciate your candor. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have much of a filter. Besides that, I try not to swear as much when I'm live or on my videos. but, but yeah, um, yeah, I don't have any other mode besides honest. So, uh, my cousin owns a hunting line black lab and she is crazy. She annoys my dogs so much. Yeah, they can be a lot. It really depends on the line. That's why I spent so much time. I traveled out from Connecticut to Illinois 3 times before picking up Denver to I went to competitions that his dogs and his progeny that's like so his parents' dogs and progeny were in so I can see them. Um so yeah, I spent a lot of time before deciding on him because of the whole field line labs can be a little bit high energy. Um, let's see. Tips on service dog training. Check out my service dog playlist on the channel. You'll find a ton of stuff there. Um, I'm looking at training a 6-month-old. Do you think that it's okay or should I start younger? 6-month-old is fine as long as they have the temperament for the work. Like you can start a dog at any time as long as the underlying temperament is there for them to be successful. So temperament is the most important. So if you're thinking about a dog, I would have it assessed by a trainer before spending, investing a lot of time and money in that. Um, Crazy high energy bench spread labs are relaxed and not as crazy. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I love a good bench spread lab. Oh my gosh. We've been so Casey, my colleague, just got another puppy from a breeder that we've used in the past, and they're just such as far as raising a puppy goes, they're so much easier. um yeah. My dog is a lab and she's 81 pounds, and that is big for her. Yeah, that's pretty big. I'm hoping that he only tops out at 60, but I might not get that lucky. Can a Samoyed be trained for service dog? Yeah, like I said, any dog that has the appropriate temperament and drive to do the work and ability to settle and be neutral can be a service dog. It's just, are they the right temperament for the work? Yeah. I have a corgi. Probably not the best choice, but I bought him originally as an ESA. He started tasking like a service dog, so I want to try to get him through the obedience public access part. Awesome. Yeah, like I said, any dog if it's got the right temperament. I mean, look at Cool Whip. She's an Australian Coolie. I would never recommend that breed. I got lucky. I didn't start actually working with her in like a public access and service dog capacity until she was 4, but I did raise her like a service dog. And I also purposefully, she's like on semi retirement now. I purposely knew that I wasn't going to use her long term and was going to get a dog that was more appropriate for the work. Uh, Trevor, almost always more Denver. Just keep chewing, just keep chewing. Yeah. Um, yeah, because if I wasn't having him chew, he would be climbing on my head. He's such a lovely dog. I love him so much. How do you deal with days that you feel like crap? What if there are a few days in a row? I've seen the video where you modified and sat in a chair and trained on a double stack of platforms. Smart. Yeah, so I have a significant joint problems that can put me out for multiple days in a row. So what am I going to do? I have dog walkers on call if I have days, and I really suggest if you have chronic illness to have people that are able to exercise your dog for you if it's going to be for a few days in a row. I can do scent work games. So one of the things that I do in the winter in Connecticut when it's terrible outside is I will do shed hunting in the house. So hide the sheds in the house for the dogs. That doesn't take a ton of mobility on my part. I will use things like the treat and train or what's the one I did the video about? I can't think of the actual name for it, but the remote treater kind of thing to have them do that kind of things, puzzle games, and then of course bones. He's been working on this bone for an hour now, and I haven't had to do anything with him. Uh, so is this live going to be recorded and available for rewatch? I think it should be. Yeah, I think it should be. Um, Thanks. I find all your resources really helpful. Thanks, Molly. Is Denver a bench bred or field? He's very much a field lab. Yep. His dad is I'm pretty sure he is the highest producing shed hunting dog in the country right now. So very much field lab, tons of hunting in the lines there. And then his mom is a British field lab. Hunting dog again. Bringing home an 8.5-week-old standard poodle on Saturday. Key points for first week home. Check out my first week home video. I have two of them. One is with a German Shepherd puppy, and then one is with Denver. But basically, getting them excited about training, letting them adjust to your house. Mr. Darcy is smart enough to weigh whether the treats in my pouch are worth doing. So if we're talking about a dog that is like that's kind of like what we would call a show me the money dog, then there's some mechanics involved there. I do have a deep dive over on Patreon on mechanics, but we want to think about how we can make the reinforcement more exciting or find other reinforcers that might be exciting. So can we toss the food for the dog to get? Can we use a ball instead? That kind of thing. My dog is fast asleep. We were playing outside. um, let's see. What's your favorite vest for each of your pups? I get my custom vests from Patience and Love. I really like their work. And then the other vest that I really like is from Roughwear. I have a video of that Roughwear vest. Oh my gosh, like look at the sun right now. Ridiculous. So pretty here. Um, yeah, so the Roughwear vests I like because of the magnetic clasp. They're super easy to get on the dog and off. Uh, my boy has a dock diving champion daddy, and mommy is the hunter. Yeah, yeah. Definitely dock diving in these lines too. And I'm hoping so. Denver swam for the first time. I'm gonna get it off of Denver. So Denver swam for the first time this trip. Prior to that, he would literally not even walk through a puddle. But then Whip went in and started swimming, and actually Fig and Bixby, the two dogs, if you've seen over on Instagram, that we've been hanging out. Yeah, they started swimming and then he was swimming and he was retrieving the Dakin, which is like a fake duck. So really, really cool. So I'm hoping to when I go back through Colorado, I'm gonna do a hopefully a swim lesson with him as well there. Do you plan on taking private clients again in the future? I do not. I I don't I have a couple clients actually the friends of mine that were here were also clients of mine that I was finishing up, but honestly, I have no time. Like I travel too much and making these videos, like if you watch my video on what I make on YouTube, you'll see how much goes into making one of these videos. I post a video a week to YouTube, two videos a week to Patreon, plus a live stream on Patreon every month, plus a deep dive every month. And I don't have time for clients, honestly. It's just too much stuff. And I think I'm hopefully helping the most amount of people by making these resources free and low cost available online. So, yeah, no clients for the near future. um, let's see. I remember seeing a list of topics to help find what we are looking for in your older videos. So usually you can search keywords right on youtube.com/doggyu. I do have a Excel spreadsheet, but I will tell you it's not super up to date. So sorry. um, let's see. Um, Dog who hates gear. Check out my video on I forget what it's called exactly, but look up vests or harness and it'll come up. But basically Cool Whip is a dog who's really sensitive to gear. So I show you how I get her used to a brand new vest and let her make the decision to get into it herself. So yeah, look up vests or harness on my YouTube and it should pop up. It's like uh loading into gear for sensitive dogs or something like that. Um yeah, explain the right temperament. Sure. Generally, for service dog work, we're looking for a dog that is going to be either neutral or like I prefer neutral when it comes to dogs and people, but I can deal with um interested in dogs and people because I can teach neutrality. I can't teach away from suspicion. So what we don't want for service dog work is a dog who's going to be suspicious towards things in public, who's jumpy, who struggles with novelty, because most people are going to be like when you're out in public, all sorts of manner of things can happen. I really hate when people are like, well, my dog's not great with other dogs, but like we're fine in public if no dogs come up to us. Well, dogs are going to come up to you. So you need to have a dog that's really neutral. I want a dog that's food motivated and handler responsive. So interested in the handler. Where things differ depends on your disability. So for like psych disabilities. Sometimes we want a dog that's a little bit more aloof to the handler. We don't want a dog that's super in tune with the handler necessarily because they can take on the feelings of the handler. It's the reason that herding dogs are tough for service work, especially for psych work, because the person has a panic attack in the store. A lot of herding dogs specifically are going to start potentially being concerned about going into that store. So we're looking generally for neutrality, optimistic temperament, good recovery. That's really, really important. So, okay, I see something that scares me, something loud drops behind me. Um, then how quickly can I recover and move on from that thing? So it's fine to be startled, but I don't want a dog that now perseverates, struggles for the next block or two because a truck backfired near them. So those are some of the things I'm looking for. Um, let's see. Can you train a mini schnauzer pup? More people at the house. Can you train a mini schnauzer pup to train to be a psychiatric service dog? Um, yes. Yeah. Like I mentioned, any breed, as long as they're the right um, temperament. Uh, oh, my service dog is bad at luring. How do you get your dog to lure with food so well? Great question. So I start like one thing that works well is high value large chunks of food. So we're talking like string cheese, and you're gonna hold all the string cheese in your hand, like on a stick, and let them nibble the edge of it and just start moving slowly. And you can even, if your dog really struggles with luring, you can have them following this. And when they follow it, you can mark and reward from the other hand. So you're marking following the food. Also works with like chicken, but you're kind of just like letting them nibble it out of your hand to start with luring. Yeah. I love the Rough Wear Best, but unfortunately, they're not available in the UK. Yeah, I know. I'm hoping that changes eventually. Let's see. How long are your training sessions at this age, and how often? Like, how often right now? Like maybe once a day. It's really hard to give you like a prescription. I will tell you that generally shorter is better. And even if I'm having a longer training session, I'm moving between skills really quickly. So, like in the morning, if I'm training with Denver, I might do a shed hunt search, and then I'm going to move to a different skill. Like maybe I'm teaching um, like leg weaves because we're working on leg weaves right now. And then I'm gonna go and do stays. So I'm like switching quickly to keep his engagement up, but generally anywhere between 3 minutes and 10 minutes. And like I said at the beginning, I've been doing a lot of like on the site training. So we're going hiking, I'm practicing your stay for 30 seconds, we're moving on, that kind of thing. I like to kind of integrate so that they think any time is a training opportunity. How do you start teaching them to hunt sheds? Um, let's see. I guess starting with the retrieve, so having like I didn't teach the retrieve on the shed. I taught it off of the shed. And then I scented the antlers, like progression of like having it visible and then not visible. Maybe I'll do a video on that eventually. I'll add it to the list. Do you believe that sport scent training messes up their medical alert training? No, I don't. I actually think that sport scent training can be helpful for medical alert training. But I will tell you that I am not a scent training specialist. I do it for fun for my own dogs, but I would not say I'm an expert on that. So uh, let's see. I appreciate your content so much. I am self-training my pup, and content has been very helpful. Yay! Ah, what did I do? Okay. Um, while I scroll down here, can you all hit that like button for me? I'd really appreciate it. Okay. Valerie loves dock diving, and we have a rehab canine pool where we can swim together. You can swim together. That's cool. That's really cool. We don't. I have a dock diving pool that's like 45 minutes from me, but you can't go in with your dog. Um, Let's see. It's Nick's birthday. Shout out to Nick. Thoughts on aversive methods, prong collars, e-collars. Oh, y'all love asking those questions. Yeah, if you haven't seen it on my channel, I don't use it. I'm not like hiding something behind the screen where I'm like popping dogs when you're not looking. I don't use prong collars, e-collars, choke collars. They're not for me. Um, I know how to use all of that equipment because I used to be a guide dog trainer, but I don't personally use that stuff on my dogs or my clients' dogs. I don't need to, so I don't. I also work with like one of the things about using. Oh, cool! There's a really cool hawk flying up here. Sorry. So one of the things about using aversive methods is I work with a lot of people who have a history of trauma, and I don't find it particularly helpful, and I also find it quite triggering for people who have to administer punishment-based protocols to their dogs that are physically punishing. I also work with a lot of people who cannot physically, like, it would not be effective to use physical punishment with them. So, yeah, it's not for me. Um, I guess that's it. If you don't see it on this channel, I'm not using it. Um, let's see. Let's see. Can I take my service dog in training in public even though he is still not good? No. Like, I mean, I guess where is the question? Um, let's see. So if I am training a service dog and they're not ready for public access work, then I'm going to train them in pet friendly places first. Pretty much is my thing. Um, for pivot, how do you get your pup off the bucket and flat on the ground? I haven't seen that progression in your videos. Yeah, Denver's not there yet. That's why you haven't seen it. But I actually use I think it's over on Patreon, but I use a circle spot so that you can buy these like gym equipment spots. They're like a circle, and I have a blue one. So I go from taller bucket, like the black one, down to the blue. Like I have like a little blue platform that I use, and then I have a circle that is also blue that I can put on the ground to start. So that's how I do it. Um, Really bad at public ignorance. Any tips? Yeah, so working at the level that your dog is going to be successful at, working the engage disengage game, um, all of that kind of thing. Did I miss something? Regression is a bummer. This adolescent puppy just made a mistake on her freshly washed bed. No way she rang the bells. Back to square. That stinks. Yeah. Yeah, and like Denver's awesome right now, and, like, also we're hopping up on adolescence here, so we know that, things might get, a little hairy going forward, but what we know about adolescence is that if we do the training in the beginning and we are consistent and then also give our dogs breaks when they need them, eventually they'll come out of it doing well, but in adolescence, I do a lot of just, like, time off of training where we're just hiking together, we're just doing fun things together. Yeah. Um, okay. Does anyone have any other questions before I head out? Let's see. Oh, we don't, let's see. We don't swim together at dock diving. The rehab pool is just open swimming, so we can get in the pool for 30 minutes at a time. Very cool place. If in Colorado, look up the Canine Body Shop in Arvada. Ah, cool. I'll have to check that out. Yeah. Um, let's see. For training healing, your puppy is jumping up and cutting across. So I'd wonder where your reinforcement is because so if I'm struggling with a dog that's cutting across me, I want to think about rewarding at my midline, so like at my butt basically, and reinforcing here. Also, when you're talking about creating a reinforcement zone, tossing the cookies behind. This is something that I do a lot on hikes with Denver and with Cool Whip as well when she was younger is I will toss food behind. When they come up to my side, I reinforce here, toss food behind so they're thinking constantly about stopping at my hip. So it's a fun game to play. I have a video of that too on Patreon. Let's see. How about abuse? I have a doodle who loves to ignore when it's time to come after play. Have to give her mom routinely. Um, yeah, so doodles I always like to say that doodles used to pay my mortgage because they a lot of like you get called in for doodles because they're playing keep away, they're jumping on people or they're anxious. And one of the things that you need to make sure that you do is call dogs out of play and then release them back to play. So I also, as a person and anybody who, when they come to you, all of the fun stops, is going to stop coming to you. So that means that you either need to reinforce the coming to you with something fun like toys, treats, whatever, but then you release them back, you pre-mac principle, you release them back to play so that it's not always every time you call them all the fun ends. That's important. Um, what are some of the main signs you need to take a step back in your training with your dog? Um, like if they're struggling and you're struggling, there's nothing that is going to be gained by like just butting heads with each other. So, like, if you're noticing like a dip in attention, working on hiking together and then just some engagement games can be really helpful. Uh, the just hiking is so great to hear. Kind of had to move there already with my pup. These giant breeds move so fast. Yeah, I love hiking for dogs. It's great. Um, let's see. Do you know any places in Salt Lake? I'm not from the Utah area, so I don't know Salt Lake trainers, but check out, see if Atlas Assistance Dogs has anyone in that area. You can look at KPA, Karen Pryor Academy as options. Let's see. Let's see. He pushes into me and I keep accidentally. Yeah, I don't really know how to help you on that one without seeing it. Sorry. Um, let's see. I joined super late. Will this be uploaded to Patreon later? Actually, no, it'll just be here on YouTube so you can watch the replay. Actually, if you're watching this right now, you can probably like scroll your scroller to the beginning of this and see it. Um, about the pivot, how to avoid sitting. So, where you reinforce is really important. So, if you have a dog that's sitting, you want to reinforce under their chin. So, like, I should have brought out treats so I could see show you stuff. But like if I have a dog that's sitting, you're probably reinforcing here with your healing, with your pivoting work. So instead I want to reinforce like I'm trying to feed under their chin and that'll keep them standing. Let's see. Awesome. All right, y'all. I think I'm going to go down and start making dinner. One more look at Denver before we go. Caitlin, another helpful session. Doggy you, cute mash. Thanks. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, the merch. If you check out my doggyu.com, there's a merch store there. Me and a friend of mine did all of the designs for that. He also did my website. So, uh, all right, thanks y'all for coming. And if you're watching the replay of this, feel free to put any questions in the comments or ideas you have for videos. Thanks, y'all. Denver, you want to say bye? Yeah, you're such a good boy. He's like, no, I got to go back to my bone. We're not done yet. All right, bye, y'all.